to a tour video. It's kind of weird because typically I'm filming the videos of other people's buses, but this time it's my bus. So this is gonna be the official video of Ivan. If you guys have been following along the channel, it's been a good 3 years of building this bus. It's officially done, so I'd like to take you guys inside and show you what we've been doing. So this is my school bus. It's a short bus. It's a 2004 Chevy Express 3500. It's a Collins school bus body, and I got this bus with like 75,000 miles. I think it's now somewhere around 83. I did take this like while I was building it on multiple trips. So now that it's done, I am going to be selling it. So if any of you guys have been following the channel, you know that I've officially decided to sell this. I'm not living in it, so please in the comments don't argue about the fact that I'm not living in it. I'm openly telling you I'm not living in this full time. I'm just traveling to my parents and it's up for sale. Yes, I have plates and dishes in really weird places. That's okay. Let's just start in the front and then we'll work our way around and I show you guys what we did. So up here in the dash area, I kind of went through the entire thing. We redid the entire dash front area. There's a whole bunch of lights and switches and stuff that didn't work. When you buy old vehicles, especially school buses, a lot of times like there's a bunch of buttons and switches that are no longer needed. So I redid the entire dash and made this so that we have like light bar switches now instead of like the emergency kid switches, blocked out most of the dash stuff and then kind of converted it over where now we have this really cool like kind of front cup compartment rather than the old school bus plastic piece to try to pull the entire bus into the dash area. Besides that, I really didn't do too much up here. You know, new driver's seat, we've got a backup camera, and then, you know, just kind of redoing the lights so that you have some lighting while driving. But in terms of the dash area, it's a school bus. It's just a lot nicer than it was. So moving onto this direction, we've got a bunch of light switches over here which kind of control the interior and exterior lights. We've got exterior floodlights that light up kind of 360 degrees around the bus for nighttime camping. Of course, just interior lights, which are like these guys, little puck lights. This area right here is kind of a desk area. I've got my computer set up, so while I'm traveling down here to my parents, I have been kind of just like working here a little bit. So it is kind of a nice little desk area. I've got plugs underneath for 120 and 12 volt. So, I mean, if I got to plug my phone in, I can charge it off at 12 volts. If I need to plug in the computer, I've got 120 volts under here. And luckily, where I'm parked right now up in the hills by my parents' house, I've got some pretty good views out into the woods. So it's kind of nice to, you know, just have all the windows and everything. Alright, so moving back from the desk area, I decided to put the fridge right here because I kind of wanted to keep the kitchen, which we didn't really get to yet, but kind of in a bit of an ergonomical feng shui to it where like things made sense. So like this opens where the door opens backwards so that if I pull the fridge out, we can pull the fridge out, but then the door obviously swings backwards so that I can still, you know, completely get into the fridge while being able to cook without the door being in my way. So I really like this location of the fridge. It's a 45 quart refrigerator. It doesn't have a freezer, but it does get down cold enough where it ends up becoming a freezer. So what I typically did for the last month or so was just put the cold stuff in the bottom that needed to stay more frozen. And then some of the more like refrigerator stuff I kept towards the top, and that seemed to work out pretty well for me and kind of how I don't eat, I guess we could say, because eating's not always my priority. It's usually building. So ask any of my friends. They're always reminding me to cook something or eat something. This works great for me. I guess we can move on to the kitchen side before we get back into the bedroom and bathroom. So the kitchen is kind of this entire side. I always like to build my buses, the ones I live in. If you guys know Navi, my other bus that I am currently living in full time, I love having big sinks, cooking areas, place to kind of entertain a little bit. If you're at a camping area or you're out at a festival or hanging out with friends, usually you're eating and hanging out at the campfire. And then this is just a phenomenal prep space. That's just kind of the way I've always lived on the road. Over here, we've just got storage, which I just have a bunch of my camera equipment since, like I said, I'm traveling to my parents. I got a bunch of work stuff. So I got my drone and, my different power equipment and stuff. Big cabinet right here. In this drawer right here, we've got kind of a garbage can, which I didn't have in Navi. So like my last bus, it was like one of those like, man, we've been in the boondocking spot for a week and like I have nowhere to put my garbage. So what I decided to do on this bus was actually just put an official garbage can in. It's a smaller one, so I was able to put the smaller bags in that can fit in like gas station or rest area type garbage locations, not the huge bags, because I found over the last few years living on the road that it's hard to find a place to put your large trash bags, but if you keep your bags small, use like little bags and maybe stack this up with 4 or 5 of them, then you have a much easier time getting rid of your garbage. Plus, it just kind of nicely tucks away. Then up here, it's just kind of more simple stuff, drawers. I got the entire water system underneath here. So one thing I did in my last bus, which I built like 7 years ago, was had a really complicated and kind of expanded water system. There's a lot of water lines going everywhere, and that was great and it worked. But now that I'm living more in the winter and I'm in colder environments, having the plumbing lines all over the place is much more difficult in the winter. So when I built this bus, I specifically kept all of the water within these 2 cabinets, and they're all interior. So pretty much the entire water system is right here underneath the sink, and it's all accessible, which I think is just going to be a world of difference compared to my last bus, where I definitely had to do a bit more with decommissioning it in the winter and stuff, where this, it's all in one spot. Pretty much every pipe's exposed. If there is a leak, I can see it. So that's definitely super nice. This bus has 30 gallons of fresh water on it, and then it's got 2 separate gray tanks, one for the sink, one for the shower. I believe it's a 19 gallon and a 20 something gallon to kind of disperse the gray water. I had to do that because the wheel well is in the middle, so you couldn't get the proper drainage with the wheel well in the way, so I ended up putting 2 different tanks. But still, that works because it keeps the drain lines really clean, it keeps them out of the way, and it's really easy to dump with the RV dump valves on the outside. I also, one thing that I didn't do in my bus Navi, but I did do in this bus, is I put an instant hot water heater in, so it's a 1.6 gallon instant hot water, but it's tanked. This one I put right underneath the sink because in my last bus, and if you guys are building a bus, you might want to think about this. If your heater is, say, in the back of the bus, but your sink is in the middle of the bus, you've got like, 10 feet of line that hot water has to push through, which typically means you're going to be wasting a lot of cold water to get to the hot. So what I did here was I put the hot water heater pretty much within a foot of kind of all the outlets. So the hot water should not be wasting as much cold water, which is really important when you're trying to boondock, stay off grid, and not exactly have to always go back to town. It's definitely nice to have the hot water heater right on demand, and also it's just like right there by the sink. Moving on, in the kitchen area, most of it's really storage at this point, just a bunch of empty cabinets for upper storage. We've got lighting kind of underneath the whole area underneath here, where I can just flip a switch and then these lights are, kind of dimmable and controllable up here. If you want a little bit more light and you don't want the upper lights on, lighting's a really big thing to me, so I like having a lot of different controls because it kind of lets you play with a lot of different moods. Moving back here, really simple, just 2-burner, cooktop. It's, I have a big oven and a big 4-burner in my other bus, and I honestly never used the oven, and I never used more than 2 burners. Here you go. I got put 2 burners in this one, and it's been great. I cooked while I was actually building this bus in here, so whenever I got hungry, I would just cook on this one. It's actually really great because not only does this like whole kitchen area kind of work really well in terms of just the spacing, I like the countertop space, but all the heat and all the venting can just actually go completely outside because I left all the emergency windows for the bus right here, so your kitchen completely opens up and then you get complete airflow. When we were out in Colorado last year with this bus before we finished it, yes, we went on many trips before we finished it, like I said before. It was nice because we were camping outside and we'd be able to like cook something right here and then you can just pass it outside. Also, if you have like, say, a bunch of really greasy, smoky stuff that needs to get out, we've got a max fan in the roof and you can just open the windows and it's kind of like you're just cooking outside. Really happy I made that feature a long time ago. If any of you out there are building a school bus, come up with a fun idea. Maybe you can use your emergency windows for something cool. I use my other ones in my bathroom. So in my other bus Navi, we put one of the emergency windows in the back of the bus in the bathroom, evacuation of air in the bathroom. Yeah, moving back into kind of like the back of the bus. It's kind of surprising how many things can be in a little bus. But back here we've got the bathroom. So it's pretty much a full bathroom, which most people would not expect. It's tiled on the bottom. I've got an Ogo toilet, composting toilet back here, which is vented outside. And then pretty much a typical shower, that's pretty standard shower. Clean poly walls. And yeah, it came out exactly the way I wanted. I really can't complain actually. So yeah, there's the bathroom. Moving on to the bed area, it may look like there's not much going back here, but this is actually most of the brains of the entire system and operation of the bus. There's a mattress on here. It's a 6-inch memory foam mattress. I've got a desk area over here, which kind of while you're in bed, you can put some storage, work stuff. A little nightstand area right here. And then the fun part back here is kind of the entire control panel where we've got our diesel heater controls, our mini split controls, interior lighting for 3-way, and then we've also got our USB plugs for at night when you want to charge your stuff, and a 120 plug up here for like a TV, charging computers or whatnot, at night, because what I did is I put my computer here, and then I would just have like a movie playing. Up here, we've got the mini split, which, like I said, is controlled by the monitor right here. It's got the condenser up on the roof, so this is just the interior unit that runs. I don't use that for the heat pump. You can put a heater in that mini split, but what I do is I have a diesel heater, which is installed underneath the bed, and it vents out on the floor, which kind of heats the whole area, out. Yeah, heater is diesel heater. Could be there, but it's really not that efficient on the solar system, so that's better off being used as an AC. Speaking of solar system though, that's the fun part, and that's the part that I really enjoy. So this bed, it does lift up, so when it lifts up, underneath the bed, you end up with the solar system. You also end up with a big kind of storage area that's a pass-through. So underneath here, we've got the entire solar system. There's 400 amp hours of batteries. It's a complete Victron system. If you guys know about solar systems and stuff, Victron is a very high-end company. The components are phenomenal, and I've been installing them for well over 3-4 years. So this one's got a complete 3,000 watt inverter. As I said, 400 amp hours of batteries. It's got an alternator charger off the engine, solar panels on the roof, complete Bluetooth monitoring, and then the entire AC/DC panel is underneath the bed right in this location. So it's kind of all tucked away, nice, neat, and cleaned. It's been running great, actually. Since I installed the system about 3 months ago, I just left it on, and that's pretty much all the bus has been powered off of ever since. The other kind of cool thing down here, which you can kind of see, is where the diesel heater actually is. So the diesel heater hides over here into this corner, and then on this underside, I left it so that both sides open up, so that if you ever wanted to, you can open both sides and pass like a 2x4, a snowboard, skis, which is really more of what I would probably end up doing, and kind of can pass them through the back door and extend them in, because when you don't, it's kind of hard to get long objects inside your school bus because the front door isn't exactly the greatest, angle to get big objects in. So having the back door open and having this under pass through, I thought might be really helpful in certain situations. So yeah, that's most of the back of the bus. Let's head outside and take you guys up to the deck. So the outside of the bus, I kind of just kept it my style. If you guys have ever seen any other buses I've built, I always put the wood on the side and a side table. So I kept the navigation door look and kind of stuck with that design. Really not much to say besides we've got an outside table. It flips up and clicks in. It's always level to the bus. So if you're parked level, you're sleeping level, you're also cooking level. And that's just kind of a nice little feature to have out here. Moving around the side, 30 amp plug for the solar system is right here, which obviously the solar system's about right there as well. So it's all, once again, tucked nice and close. And then we've got the back door, which if you've noticed, I reversed from the original. So this door used to be the other direction and the hinge used to be over here. And I switched it because what I didn't like about my last bus was that the door opened the other way. So when you're in the back and you're going up the ladder, you can't open the door. Where now I can open the door and technically, you can still get in and out, and the door is not hindering you from the inside of the bus. I didn't like that about my last one, so we came up with the idea to literally take the door off and reverse it. The other nice thing about doing it that way was that the window made more sense, because now the window is actually right at the bed level, so when you're sleeping, people aren't standing there and watching you sleep. So this kind of creates a visual break for the bed, because it kind of felt awkward at first when I first built this whole thing, and I was like, that's not gonna work out too well, because they're gonna be parked in a parking lot and someone's gonna be like, oh, what's that bus look like? We can move up to the deck. All right, moving on to the deck. There's not too many features up here necessarily, but there's a couple nice things that I like. We've got the AC, like I was saying, the AC units up here up on the deck. It's got two 20-pound propane tanks, which really mostly just function for the stovetop. Stovetop can also be switched over to electric, because there's an electric plug right there, but I put the 2 tanks up here just because they're a lot more accessible, and I didn't want to put an under tank on the bus, so they're up here up on the deck. We got a nice little railing up here, so it's been already a pretty nice hangout area to have friends over and stuff. We've got some in-deck lighting for at night, so it shines up and kind of illuminates the whole area. And then on the front part, which you shouldn't go walk on, but I guess you could, is the 2 solar panels and the max fan, which exhausts out from the inside right in front of the bus. Yeah, it's just a really nice hangout area up here. Every bus I've built, I've put a deck on the top and never regretted it. Definitely happy we got this one up here. That was the tour of my bus, Ivan. It's a 2004 Chevy Express. It took me about 3 years to convert, so if you do it in any faster, congratulations. And don't ever go into a bus build thinking it's gonna take 6 months. It won't. And everyone in the comments who's built a bus will tell you it won't. So it was a lot of fun building this, a lot of great memories. Dale, Luke, Gina, Badge, my parents, family. There's so many people involved in this bus and it meant so much to me. So as I've said before, this bus is gonna be going up for sale. So if you're interested, you can contact me. And I'm really excited to see not only the journey that this bus has already had with me for the last 3 years and the adventures we've gone on, but to one of you out there who's gonna be able to take this thing on a trip and just make new memories with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tour. Hope you guys enjoyed the build series. But at this point, we're pretty much coming to the end of Ivan. See you in the next one.